devastating landslide leaves a dozen homes red tagged and others at risk. And this morning, the land is still moving in Rolling Hills Estates.
And joining us now is the LA County Fire Chief, Anthony Maroney, to tell us the latest on what is happening. Chief, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, good morning.
Our crews on the ground say they could see a difference in the shifting between yesterday and today. So can you just update us on what happened there overnight?
Yes, I was briefed this morning by our crews on scene that some additional movement has occurred in that Palos Verdes Estates area off of Pear Tree Lane. As you know, and as your viewers have seen, we've had 12 structures that have been red tagged by the city of Rolling Hills Estates building official, and we're closely, actively monitoring what's going on with the other houses on the periphery to make sure that those houses are not moving or that no cracks are developing, which would necessitate us issuing an evacuation order for the home.
Situation for all the people living there. How are you measuring or keeping track of this movement?
Well, we're visually looking at it every day. We're thinking about employing an aircraft that's going to be able to fly overhead right around the noon hour every day to actually track the movement of these 12 structures down into the canyon. I would characterize it more as a landslide rather than a sinkhole. We're awaiting a geologist report from the city of Rolling Hills Estates, from the Homeowners Association, because I think they really need to get a technical professional out there to figure out what's going on, if this landslide is going to lengthen, and when the movement is going to stop.
And you mentioned 12 homes are red tagged. We know 16 more are considered threatened. Can you tell us where you make that, how you make that determination, rather, that these homes are threatened, and how likely is it that they could suffer this same fate?
Right. So we responded on Saturday at 1:30 in the afternoon for a water main break, and it appears that a pipe was actually pulled apart as part of the initial land movement that we saw in this area in the Palos Verdes Peninsula. So we noticed some small cracks in the home. We started to assess the homes for their structural stability with our urban search and rescue team. And we came to the determination that the cracks were growing larger and that the people that were residing in those residences were in immediate danger. So we gave them about 20 minutes to collect all of their belongings that were irreplaceable and bring them outside. And after that, we saw a lot of major movement. As your camera's showing right now, many of these homes have slid down the hill into that ravine, which is behind the homes. And it's just absolutely tragic to see what's happened to these people's properties. Unlike a wildland brush fire, when your home is destroyed by wildfire, it leaves the lot and you're able to rebuild. These people in Rolling Hills Estates don't even have a lot to build on. Their lot has disappeared down the hill. So we're just continuing to monitor the homes on either side, north and south, of this fissure that's opened up to see if there's any cracking there or any signs of movement.
Yeah, we feel for these homeowners, and think about those moments of having to gather your things and take them with you, and how to prioritize in that way, and then seeing your home get destroyed. We're thinking about them. We appreciate your time today. We know you're very busy. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good morning.
Thank you. And the images of those 12 destroyed homes are, of course, just shocking and leave so many people wondering, if this happened to my home, what would happen? Would insurance even cover it?
And for that, we are turning to our consumer investigator on your side's Christine Lazar. And this is another one of those cases where you hope your insurance company will come through for you.
Yeah, you know, this is something that I was thinking about last night, and I was really hoping I would get a different answer from experts, because I kind of knew in my gut and from what I've covered that the news is not good. And what we're hearing from experts just reaffirm that. The short answer is these homeowners are likely out of luck. Most insurance policies won't cover damage caused by landslides. The slide happened late Saturday night, forcing those 12 homes to evacuate. And as that fire captain mentioned, they only had 20 minutes to do so. So it's really unlikely residents were able to save much. And fire officials believe even more homes may still be at risk. I spoke with an insurance attorney to see whether their homeowners insurance will provide any coverage for these people.
there's a very high likelihood here that there won't be some source of compensation or recovery for this, because what most people don't realize is that homeowners insurance policies throughout the country, but especially in California, don't cover what's called earth movement, things like exactly what's happening here, which is a landslide. If there's an argument that the HOA knew of this or should have known of this that there was a real possibility of this happening, and they could and should have done something to prevent it, there's an argument that the HOA is responsible. I mean, but that's also very difficult to establish in this situation, I think.
Now, there may be a way for these homeowners to go after an entity if they contributed to that slide. An example would be if the city had a water main break that could be tied to this earth movement, or if the recent rains contributed to it. But in the case of the rain, that would only be covered if the homeowners had supplemental flood insurance, which many here in California do not have. And going after someone for this would likely take years. And one's homeowner insurance likely isn't going to cover the contents of one's home either, or pay for their temporary lodging. So you can only imagine you have a mortgage on this. It's not going to pay. Your insurance isn't going to pay for you to go move somewhere. They're not going to pay for all the furniture and clothing and electronics that were destroyed. I mean, it is just an absolute nightmare. So the best advice I can give someone living on a hillside looking at this saying, oh my gosh, what if this happened to me? Call your insurance broker and say, look, these are my concerns. I'm looking at what's happening in Rolling Hills Estates. How can I cover my home to the best of our ability? Because these insurance agents, they're not required by law to tell you what you need. They're required to give you what you ask for. So that's what you need to do. I also want to point out, if we do see a state of emergency in this area, that could help with getting public funds to help rebuild, low interest loans. But again, no one's handing out free money. So it is, absolute nightmare. I can only imagine what these people are going through. And unfortunately, unlike a fire, you don't have that insurance coverage.
And the more I hear about this reporting, the more I'm wondering why we're paying for insurance. It doesn't cover so much.
Well, there are so many exclusions. And also, if this were due to an earthquake, if you didn't have earthquake insurance, that also wouldn't be covered. Typically, the earth movement that we think about is earthquakes, but then we also have these landslides. So another good tip, make sure your policy is going to cover what it would cost to build your house from the ground up. A lot of us got our insurance policies before COVID, when things were much cheaper. Now it can be up to 2 times what you thought it would be to replace your home. So It's literally a nightmare. I wish I had better news, but the best thing we can say is look at this and prevent it from happening to you. Yeah.
This is really great information, Christine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.